Hey, what's up, everybody? Back with this and that racing. Got my nephew here with me. Got to keep teaching the next generation of car enthusiasts. So yeah, we're gonna be discussing the K-swapped RX8. Kind of give you a build breakdown. Explain how we got here and where we are at right now and where we are going. So essentially, I got the rusty RX8 and a partial trade for a rusty WRX a long time ago, back in, 2019?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, 2019. Been racing with Gridlife, with SCCA, wheel-to-wheel stuff when I was in the Army for years. And I've ran multiple platforms, from the Z33, the 350Z G35, to an S2000, to one of my personal favorite cars, the BMW 3 Series, the E46 and E36 M3s. Had quite the collection of E36 M3s. 3000 GT VR4s, Stealth RT twin turbos, like you name it, I've basically put it around the track. Even including, and there's videos of the track budget build SC400, which I ran at Gridlife in Road Atlanta. I ran it at Midwest, put like 5,000 track miles on it, and it never let me down. It was a blast too. It was a tank, but it was a blast. We also ran the 135i, which that car was sketchy towards the end because I had done a lot of bolt-ons. It wasn't meant to be a, track grip purpose car. It was meant to be a fun kind of like quick daily, and that open diff in it was just awful to deal with. And then I ended up in an RX8 for the first time. And even with low compression, and the Renesis was just dying in it, I had the most fun I've ever had at a track event. It's one of those things where it didn't have a lot of power left in it, and the RX8 doesn't have a lot of power as it is. But how the car felt, how I felt in the car, how it responded to my driving style, I kind of got addicted to the chassis. It's an amazing platform. And, well, my buddy, Drew Schmidt, shout out to you. He's heard this story, and this has been rubbed in his face 100 times because it's pretty funny. He had his track purpose-built WRX, and he kept turning the boost up while we were out there during the event, and inevitably blew up his engine. Big surprise there, an EJ blowing up. But it wasn't the engine's fault this time. It was the fact that he kept pushing it. And, I mean, that's the whole point of having a track car, is to push it, right? So he blew up his engine. The RX8 was still running. It was limping, but it was running. So I let him take the car out, and it probably would have died by the end of the weekend anyways, but he ended up spinning out, and one of the pipes disconnected from the back of the rotary, and catastrophic failure, and he blew the Renesis engine that weekend as well. So fast forward to the end of that Gridlife Midwest weekend, we're talking to a couple of the boys, and they're like, if you really like this chassis, you should just swap it. And I was like, that's a good idea. Haven't done a swap in a long time. Last engine swap I completed was a R34 swapped S13, which was, it was a lot of work. But with how much I fell in love with the RX8, that was a big thing for me. More power, more reliability. So then I started looking at swap options. You got your typical 2J, straight 6 RB series swaps. You got the LS swap guys are gonna love that, the LS swap. And it was just, I couldn't buy another LS engine. I've had G8s, I've had Camaros, And the LS is a great engine. I've built, my share of them. But when it comes to affordability and trackability based on affordability, that's where the LS starts to kind of lose out points compared to other engine swaps. What I mean by this is the LS engine is prone to oil starvation, especially in high G turns, which in a built RX8, you're going to be getting high G turns. And then you're going to have to put a big sump kit of some sort in there, and the supportive mods are going to start draining the bank. And as This and That Racing, it's a group of a couple of my family members and friends and I, we tend to be self-bought, self-built. So that just wasn't in the books or in the cards for me personally. So that's where I ended up on the K series. Well, I never, ever done a Honda, like an actual Honda engine before. So I dove in. There wasn't a lot of information about the kswap on the RX8. There's only like one other person that had done it at that point. So I started reaching out to companies that were doing kswaps like K24a2, and they gave me some ideas. Then in the RX8 pages, I started a thread, and we started having a conversation, and Steve from SAS reached out to me because he was starting to develop a RX8 swap kit as well, and then it just kind of kicked off from there. Over the last 4 years, I've been, helping push and develop the platform, getting parts when I could, doing a little bit of engine building when I can, but now we're at like that final last little push. The only thing I'm missing is the fuel system.
Yeah.
The
lines and stuff like that.
Yeah, which we'll be making this winter. So the last thing I need really is the fuel system. But the swap is basically ready to go in the car at this point. We have some minor things to do to the engine, which I will be documenting in shorts and an actual video. But yeah, it's getting there. I know this is a lot of talking and not a lot of action, but we needed to kind of showcase where we are, where we're going, So I did a lot of research, ended up on the K24a2 from a 2005 TSX, I think it was. So, and then after some measurements, we found out that it would take even more cutting and fabrication to run the K24a2 head. So then, after lots of discussions with Steve from SAS, K24a2, I came to the conclusion that I needed to find a K20A2 head off of the RSX Type S, which I did. I ended up finding one. I had to get it from Canada, but I found one. So I got the K20A2 head all tanked up, and the valve stem seals replaced, and the machine shop removed the lost motion springs. Now, I've never done Honda engines before. I thought I did everything correctly. So I put Kinetic head gasket on, cleaned everything, ARP head studs, the works, put the TSX cams back on, 40-degree timing gear, done right. And my boys over at Keep Gun and Garage were doing a K-swap, and their videos are so informative. Big shout out to them. But I was watching and I was like, wait a minute, what are those little springs that he's putting back in? And I was like, I don't remember putting those back in. And sure enough, the machine shop had removed the lost motion springs and not given them back to me. So I completely assembled the head, cams, and everything. Did the timing. It's basically ready to start test fitting and drop in the car. And I realized that I didn't have lost motion springs in the car. So this weekend, that's what me and Riley are going to be doing. I'm going to be showing them how to do timing and pulling cams and stuff like that this weekend, and we'll get it all documented and laid out for everybody, so I got a luckily I kept the K24a2 head, and it has lost motion springs in it. If they're in good condition, we'll throw those in. If not, I'll spend the $30 and go pick up a set from the local Honda dealer. That's not a bad thing. What we got to do to the engine, front main seal, rear main seal. I have to helicoil the water pump, one of the water pump bolts. The first bolt I took off of that engine when I got it stripped out. That was it was great. It was a great experience there. But yeah, we're approaching that point, right? So this weekend we're going to be at least getting that done, right? Mm-hmm. Getting the engine sealed back up, retimed, and from there we have to take it off the engine stand and actually put the motor mounts on and attach it to the subframe. The subframe's already notched. It's ready to go. We just have to make sure before we do our final welds and solidify everything that it fits properly. So that'll be this weekend as well. The dash is getting there. Here, let me flip this around. We're going to be doing this actually right now. I'm going to go through and mark all the wires and make sure we know that this gaggle of a mess right here is actually for the radio and cluster, and we have to unbolt all the small little clips and then remove this bar out with the climate system, and that should be the last part of that. I'm thinking about doing cleaning up the dash a little bit and getting rid of the reflectiveness of it. I forgot what it's called. There's like it's a lot of track cars put it on their dashes. It's like a suede material. Comment below if you remember what it's called, but I'm thinking about doing that while the dash is out. But yeah, so we're making progress. I did end up going through 2 different chassis. I got another black RX8. It was really nice. I had the no sunroof, so it weighed, I think it was like 2780 factory with the engine and everything in it, which is super light. Ended up picking up another silver one, which is the one I ended up deciding that I'm going to use because it's beautiful. It's got no rust on it. You know, it's a little bit better of a platform, and the black one went to my cousin, who's also part of the channel that you guys will meet at some point, especially as he starts getting into welding that. And that car is going to be a drift RX8 with a LS engine in it. So leave a comment what motor you think you should put in there of the LS series. But yeah, that's basically it. Wrapping it up today. I know I talked your ear off and everything. Keep a lookout as the channel numbers go up. I have some parts and unique things that I'll be doing giveaways for. Giveaways will be free and shipped free to the lower 48 continental US. So I'll never ask anyone to pay for anything in the giveaways. He can contest to that. He knows. But yeah, that's it for now. Remember to like and subscribe. We need those subscription numbers up, so get them up there. But we will see you back in a couple hours as we. Couple hours, if not, yeah. Yeah, it's a hot one today, so we're gonna be suffering a little bit, but that's fine. But all right, later.